If you're finding that you're losing control too often, it's time to take the reins on yourself and learn how to stay calm in the most tense situations. In the sailing world, even if the ship is sinking, the captain is trained to speak with composure. Shouting and freaking out in any high-stress moment is not helpful and usually makes things worse. We all lose it once in a while, but if you are habitually losing control and overheating, let's look at ways to help you with the management of anger. Welcome to Morning Tea. I'm Joanne Jolie. When we're angry and we blow up, we often say and do things that we regret, and we may even put ourselves into a worse position than the person who incited the anger. For example, one of my clients would become very angry with her husband. She would explode in exasperation, and her response was to drag up every terrible thing he'd done in the past, things that she had forgiven him for. Forgive and forget. And this act of throwing dirt back in his face was so much worse than what he had done. She was out of control. Number one, we have to restrain. The emotions of anger are so powerful. Remember that number one, these intense feelings don't last. They dissipate on their own to a manageable level. You just have to kind of ride it down. And remember too that you will later have an opportunity to deal with the issue that raised the anger. Anger is often a good thing because it sounds an alarm to something else that's going on. But to manage the heat of the moment, you're going to need some new tools. Some people learn breathing techniques and they will perform a mental process before they open their mouth or act. And this works very well for them. Some people literally have to remove themselves from the situation, go out to a movie, go out to the store and shop as a distraction while that poisonous feeling is coursing its way through. Another really great idea some people do is go to the gym and they exercise and expend all that energy in a very healthy way. Double benefit there. So all of these methods take practice. So find your way, the one that's going to work for you, and be ready. Prepare yourself to put it into action for the next time this happens. You can do this. You expect your biting, kicking toddler to restrain themselves, don't you? If they're capable of it, so are we. Number two, check the physical. Are you okay? Parents, you know that infants can't articulate when something's wrong. It's up to you to deduce what the problem is by a process of elimination. You might say, when was the last time they ate? Because an empty stomach for a baby can be excruciatingly painful and they're going to scream. Once I remember placing my baby daughter in her car seat. She started to cry. She didn't stop crying, so I knew something was wrong. So I pulled over and I did a thorough examination and found that there was a sharp object that was poking her. In the same way for you, when was the last time you had a general physical to make sure that there's nothing poking you, so to speak, making you crazy and edgy? Get your blood levels checked out. Make sure nothing's running too high or too low. You could find some underlying condition that can be remedied quite easily, and that impulse to blow will simply start to go away. Number three, do an analysis. When you've calmed down, analyze the situation. What happened? What led up to the angry outburst? Discover the pattern. There's a pattern there. Prepare yourself for the next time. What can you do differently? In the Back to the Future series, Marty was set off and boiled over whenever anyone called him yellow.
What's wrong, dude? You yellow!
And he was right to feel angry over the insult of being called a coward, which wasn't true. But his reaction put him right into the hands of Biff, who relished the power he had over him in this weakness. But one day, Marty simply realized his tormentors weren't worth it. They weren't worth another minute of his time, and he was not going to play along with that game anymore. Great example of how we can get so bent out of shape over ridiculous, unimportant things. Number four, can you let it go? As I've said so many times before, love covers a multitude of sins, and we give grace to others just as we hope to receive grace when we lose it, when we blow up. We all need a ton of grace. Number five, let's keep the air clear. Everyday things can build up, just like the steam in the old whistling kettles, if you remember. It boils hotter and hotter until finally it blows out and it squeals. In your relationships at home, at work, let the steam out on a regular basis. Communicate kindly and honestly to keep annoyances and stresses from building up. Number six, is this stupid stuff? Are you angered frequently by unimportant things like someone cutting you off in traffic, those types of events? Then ASAP, shift your mind to gratitude. Today, people just like us aren't going about their ordinary lives. They're running away. They're running from their homes with only what they can carry. Their lives are destroyed. They have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Think about them. Be grateful for the many blessings that we have, that we so often take for granted. And take that moment, instead of being angry, for this slight, to pray for our suffering fellow humans. And you'll find that you won't be so easily troubled by these far less important things. Thank you so much for being here. Don't go without subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.